Yeah, I remember years ago, Dan Rather, when he took over for the CBS Evening News from Walter Cronkite, he had this bit that he did briefly, where at the end he would go, "Courage," you know. And I guess people thought that was like ridiculous and foolish, and so he was kind of shamed or pressured to stop doing that. That's what I recall. I could be wrong about that, but I think that's what happened. But courage was his message, and I just been thinking about that lately. That courage is what we need. I mean, that song, "What the world needs now is love," and all you need is love. But no, we also you also need courage to to express the love and the acceptance and the forgiveness, you know, towards a world gone mad, a world of very insane people with no consciousness whatsoever. I'm not just talking about radical Islamic terrorists. I'm talking about everybody. Everybody is insane. I'm a psychiatrist, okay? And let me tell you, the new normal is insane. And let me just try to clarify that. Is everybody just walking around like Looney Tunes? They should be in the loony bin. They're out of their minds, insane. No, not all the time, but people will go into insane modes where they, suspend reality, suspend the truth. They have their biases, their fears, their disconnects, their anger, their judgments, and their ego refuses to open a window of insight, a window of truth, a window of alternative possibilities, a window of thought. People are insane when they get into that mode of not wanting to hear, having so many defense mechanisms and so many biases that they can't actually hear anything contrary to what they need to believe. And again, this has got nothing to do with Hillary or Trump. This has to do with everything. Our personal relationships, the resentments that we keep in our hearts and minds for years, for decades, the harsh judgments, where they're wrong, we're right. They abuse, we're the victims. Now, a lot of times that's the case, but a lot of times, it takes two to tango. A lot of times there's plenty of blame and responsibility to spread around, but people don't want to do that. People would prefer to blame other people and not take personal responsibility, and that's where courage comes in. Again, courage comes in to take personal responsibility, despite the consequences. You'll deal with the consequences of taking personal responsibility, but really taking responsibility, as opposed to a lot of politicians after they screw up and do something, they've been caught at something, and they go, I take responsibility for this. Yeah, and then it's over. There is no responsibility without there being some sort of consequence, some sort of you know, of behavior that indicates you are taking responsibility, a correction in your behavior, a correction in what you do, something for people to just get up there and say, yes, I take responsibility. No, we really need to take responsibility by doing the right thing when it happens. When it happens, step up, do the right thing, have the courage to speak up, have the courage to tell the truth, have the courage to stay calm when you're surrounded by, raving, raging lunatics. Learn how to disengage, learn how to see the truth in other people. At the same time that you need to counterpoint with what you believe is actually the truth and actually more pertinent and valid. Yeah, I was watching the Olympics opening ceremony, and there was this. I guess actually, I was in a restaurant with a friend of mine, and it was on one of the TV sets, but we couldn't hear. We couldn't hear the sound. But what we saw were it looked like an advertisement or just a sponsored statement from the Olympic Committee of of a statement about climate change, about how the grasslands are shrinking, and it's everything's becoming drier and hotter and worse, and it's head in sand is a bad concept. Courage to take your head out of your sand and pay attention and be an adult and be responsible and be part of the solution, not the problem. All right, that's it. Take care. Peace be with you. See you next time.